American Baptist College Alumni Association and the acting treasurer of the Alumni Association. So thank you for joining us today. The Presidential Bridge Series brings together students, professionals, community leaders, and the broader public to explore the intersections of leadership, service, purpose, and vocation. Through engaging conversations across disciplines, the series encourages participants to reflect on how their talents, experiences, and work can create meaningful impact in their communities and beyond. We are excited to have you join us for what promises to be an inspiring and insightful discussion. I want to introduce you to our panelists this evening. First, we're joined by Dr. James Wadley. Our first panelist is Dr. James Wadley, a tenured professor at Lincoln University and founder and principal of the Association of Black Sexologists and Clinicians, and is an accomplished educator, researcher, and advocate. His work focuses on wellness, relationships, human development, and the importance of culturally responsive scholarship and service. Join me in welcoming Dr.
Thank you.
And now Ms. Gina Walter. We welcome her as the founder and principal of her consulting practice, where she works with organizations and leaders to drive strategic growth, leadership development, and organizational excellence. Her commitment to mentoring and empowering others makes her a valuable voice in today's conversation. Join me in welcoming Ms. Gina Walter. Mr. E.J. Reed is joining us as our entrepreneurship study teacher, the co-founder of the nationally recognized restaurant and lifestyle brand Slim and Hutchings Pizza. Through entrepreneurship, innovation, and community investment, EJ has demonstrated how vision, perseverance, and purpose can create opportunities and inspire economic growth. Join me in welcoming EJ. Dr. Gregory Hutchings, Jr. We are also honored to welcome him as a founder of Revolutionary Ed and program director of the EED program at Howard University. Known nationally for his work in educational leadership and equity, Dr. Hutchings is dedicated to transforming educational systems and empowering the next generation of leaders. He serves today as our education. Join me in welcome.
Took my seat.
Now our president, Reverend Dr. Derrick Jackson. He serves as the 11th president of this amazing institution, American Baptist College. Dr. Jackson brings to this role a deep commitment to educational excellence, student success, institutional growth, and transformational leadership. Under his leadership, the college continues to strengthen its mission of preparing students to lead lives of purpose, service, justice, and faith in this environment. Join me in welcoming President Jackson. And last but not least, finally, we have our moderator leading this discussion. Leading today's conversation is Trustee Monchieré Holmes-Jones, founder and CEO of Mojo Impact, a respected leadership strategist, speaker, and executive coach. Trustee Holmes-Jones is passionate about helping individuals and organizations unlock their potential, lead with purpose, and create lasting impact. Welcome. Today we'll explore leadership, service, entrepreneurship, education, and the importance of investing in future generations. We hope that this conversation inspires you to engage, ask questions, build connections, and discover new ways to turn your passion into purpose as we continue building bridges between opportunity, leadership, and community. So join me today in this discussion. Thank you.
Great job. Thank you so much. I'm excited to see it's alumni coming back to help us get all innovative. Look, I think I'm alumni, child. One thing, HBCUs, my good friend here, EJ, and I were chatting before. As business owners, we talk about operations, and sometimes operations become the everyday consuming of any business, any institution, any business, any church. And it's good to step out and step forward in who I know Black people can be and be innovative. And I think this is very much a set for us to set forward in some innovation. I know we all have been talking about it for a while. So I'm excited to see this grow. And the panel, when I saw the panel, I said, oh, okay, all right, this heavyweight stuff. Let's get going. So very excited to see this really reach beyond Nashville and reach to our pastors, our alumni, all of our folks, so that they can really it becomes a trend that people want to be a part of. So thank you, great idea, great vision. Looking forward to keeping going. So let's tell everybody about y'all a little bit more. I know we got some short introductions, but why are we here? What do you do? Who are you? Let's talk about it. So tell me, I tell your story different, but he's everything. But tell us, when it comes to a HBCU today, how is your work really impacting the HBCU? The work that you've been doing with AME, with the publishing school, all of that, how does that work?
I think in the data supports it, HBCUs, wherever they may be, they've always done a lot with little. They graduate at a better success rate of persons of color than any other institution in the world. There is something, I want to say, magical about an HBCU, and even mystical, because it's not just education.
Right.
It's a calling. It's a commitment. It's carriers of legacy and stewards of legacy as well. And so when an individual attends HBCUs, they're not just getting an education, they're getting empowerment. They're getting liberation. They are getting a sense of belonging and their place in this big world, historically and even presently. And so my work, I graduated from an HBCU, Prairie View, A&M University, go PBU. I've been around HBCUs for a long time. Family members attended HBCUs. Even as interesting as it may appear, in the political environment, the current administration, in their outlets, their publications, their research, they have concluded that the return rate on an investment in an HBCU is a better return than investments in some of your Ivy League and larger schools. So it is worth the investment to the community and also to the students.
And to be associated with it, honey. Right. Well, we love our school names, but once you get really connected, you could be shouting out 3 or 4 schools at a time.
That's correct.
We love Howard. We love, we shout out Howard. Nobody ain't went to Howard. Everybody shout out. I shout out TSU. I have not went to Big Blue. However, Xavier University, just for the record, okay? Tell me, Dr. Hutchings, what has your work in its last decades or two, how does that really help the HBCUs today, or how has it affected the HBCUs in your perspective? How do you see those connecting?
Yeah, so first let me just say HBCUs make you feel seen and heard, and you get to come unapologetically Black.
Yes.
Right, so I just think of my work at Howard, especially, I went to Hampton University.
Oh, look at him.
But I graduated from Old Dominion University. I didn't finish at Hampton. Another story that's for a different day. But what I will tell you, my dad is a graduate of Howard University. And I can tell you that just stepping on a campus of an HBCU and being a Black person, it gives you pride. You're standing on shoulders, and it automatically elevates you to a place that you have never seen or been before, right? And I think that my work, what I try to do as a professor at Howard now, is really instilling in our young people, as well as, because I teach doctoral students, so they're not all young. Some are older than me who are in the program, but I try to instill in them that it is our duty when we get into this space, that when we get these degrees, that we go back and we help somebody else that looks like us, right? And that we are working for communities that look like us, and being that voice that other folks are afraid to have. And you know, I think that HBCUs, and what I try to do with my work, is to ensure that folks have courage and what I call VIP, vision, integrity, and passion.
Oh, I love it.
And it's something that I think every HBCU has and possesses and demonstrates, right? But I think that it also is characteristics that you will have these, you know, we can hone those skills when you come to our HBCUs, and you'll be able to go out into the world and make that difference, regardless of who you work with. Now, we hope that you work with folks that look like us, but you can go into any space once you have left the HBCU and know that you deserve to be at the table and for somebody else to pay the bill.
I love that. So we making sure they're human, and they're adding to the humanity of the world that we got to live in every day. And I think that's what HBCUs will do, based on what you're saying.
That's
I
right.
love that. Talk to me, EJ.
So it's real interesting. My business is actually a journey of friendship, right? That really started really beyond our experience at HBCU. You know, my partner Mo and I, second grade friends, and Clint known in high school, and all of our ties is to North Nashville. And one of the most special things about North Nashville is you have Fisk University, Tennessee State University, Monchieré Medical College, and of course American Baptist College. So our journey growing up in Nashville was always centered around, in a lot of respects, you went to church in North Nashville, TSU homecoming in North Nashville. So it's like this area was just always a part of our journey and our eventual being as restaurateurs and opening up Slim and Husky. And it's very interesting, you know, when we opened on Buchanan Street and pretty much in walking distance from where we're sitting, a lot of people thought we were crazy, right? And a lot of people thought that how can you open in an area that wasn't inspired by hope, right? And so we always saw the value of the community. We always understood the power of what HBCUs and just the community, when you wrap excellence around it, when you wrap the level of service around something, how it just will be responded to very well. So, you know, we love Big Blue. We love all of our HBCUs. We're fortunate to have a location on Morehouse College campus and Lincoln University and other Lincoln University, but Lincoln University as well as Jackson State University, and we really see how the students can see the representation, and you know how it matters so much. To know that, you know, the pride of having HBCU-born concept be on their campus as well. And you know, and again, you know, we love Belmont University as well, University of Memphis, and everywhere we are. But it's just that the special factor of, you know, having started at the great Tennessee State University and just the HBCU journey. So yeah.
I love that representation. I mean, that's what you're giving. Good food too. Good food too. We'll put that in there. Come on, Gina. Tell me. I mean, I thought I have lived. This one has lived.
I'm living.
So she has a lot to share. But tell us what the HBCU experience, or how do you feel like your work over the decades has helped this?
I think what I'm appreciating so far hearing you all is that I'm offering a different perspective.
Yeah.
So I did not attend an HBCU. I'm the only person in my family that did not. Okay. And I'm gonna tell you why I didn't. Because I got accepted to several. I did not go because one, Fisk lost all my stuff. I had an audition tape, and you know, I went through that process. Spelman didn't have housing. My godfather reached out to a good friend of his who was a pastor at Week Street Baptist Church, Dr. Michael Wright, and he said, we'll hook you up with a family at the church. And I was like, I'm not leaving my mama's house to go to somebody else's mama's house to go to college. Not happening. And so that being said, my nephew graduated from Lemoyne. He was a 5th generation. My family loved Lemoyne, right in the corner from where we grew up. I've had cousins to attend Talladega, Morehouse. My sister went to Clark. I went to Belmont. I went to UT Knoxville, just because it was the ease of the process. But what I want to share, because of the experience that I did have, is that mentors do matter. Black students, no matter what school they're matriculating, they need proximity to your support, and they need access. And that really, I feel like most PWIs have a similar spirit in that we're going to find each other wherever we are, right? And we're going to assemble, and we're going to come together. And it felt like we were existing as a Black college within those spaces, to the degree that we could have spirit, we could have, all the things that we needed for expression of who we were in those spaces culturally. And so, because I've had my own personal journey and was able to watch my cousins and my sister and their experiences, I'm going to just tell you, and doing a lot of mentoring around the city, Black students, they need your help no matter where they are, especially in some of our PWI schools. So I'm excited to be able to say that in context of my experience, that oftentimes I am the person in the room suggesting that, yes, we know that there's funding problems, we know that there's a lot of challenges, but I can assure you that there are students all over the country, if they're in college somewhere and not on a full ride, that they need jobs, they need workforce development, they need opportunities with interns. I mean, every year when I was working at the company that I was working for the last 20 plus years, middle, they needed to come to do internships. And so that's just still the case with every school. Students are going to need those fundamental things. So this is an opportunity that I think is probably once in a lifetime for the students here, and even in our reach here, in our hearing of being able to come and participate in something like this. So it's exciting.
I can see people paying to be in that class here, for sure. I will tell you, mentorship is great, and mentorship is what they need. Tell me how, I just have to double back on that question. Tell me how they asked you to get mentored, though, because that's the issue that I'm seeing.
Well, I think for me personally, so a few things. I keep my DMs open, and I have, because I have lived, had a whole career with artists, so it's just a very natural place for me to be online, looking at artists, listening to artists, following artists, where they're going to be, where I can go and listen and experience, their art. And so with that, whether it's artists, young executives, they don't mind reaching out and saying, hey, can I shadow you? Do you have something that I can come and participate, watch? Can I come and have a coffee? Can I pick your brain? Those kind of things. I don't mind that, because otherwise, how are you gonna reach me? LinkedIn is another valuable tool for college students to use. I find almost every year at this time of the year, when I am reading parents who've dropped their students off locally, I usually try to reach out to a handful of them and say, hey, I see you just dropped your daughter off at TSU. Hey, I see you just dropped your child off at Belmont. If they need a resource or need to grab coffee, I'm making myself available to you. And I've just tried to consistently do that I've been in Nashville for 31 years. And part of I don't know if this was going to take me to a different place. Hold on, let me get myself together. I grew up in the hood. I grew up in a house that we could sit, my mama's house, in this room. And to know that I've been afforded some opportunities that I could never have imagined in that house, largely was because people saw me. And I mean, my mother was a school teacher who had another school teacher colleague said, I want to take her to the symphony. And as an adult, I've taken all those moments, and I asked my mom, who's 93 now, what kind of audacity did it take for another colleague of yours to say, I want to take her to a symphony when y'all were colleagues, like you were a teacher, she was a teacher. You could have done that. My mother said, girl, she knew I wasn't doing that. And so I'm just using that, but she's one person of many that I've had who have become an extended village in my lifetime, who've chosen to see me and chosen to help me activate whatever they thought that was in me that could be developed by just exposure or intentionality of saying, let me take you here and show you how it's done up close and personal. And that's the secret sauce that most of us need.
Oh yeah, I love that, I love that. Tell me, your work, HBCUs, how they connect?
I'll start off by saying that I'm a product of HBCU. I did go to Hampton, and that was the best 4 years of my life because I couldn't walk to any class without hugging at least 2 people, which is the same gift that you all gave to me as soon as I walked through that door, which is really nice. Wow. Thank you for that. I think the magic that you started to talk about actually bleeds into what you just shared in terms of, for me, the magic of HBCUs is that we're flawed. And whether it's sitting in a hot dorm room with no AC, or the shower doesn't have hot water, or trying to, I'm showing my age, trying to call my mama but the payphone don't work.
Right.
Or going to the registrar and they trying to type in classes but you gotta fill out a form and the internet at the time is down. All of those experiences allow for a different kind of character to be built in me and probably in many of us who might have gone to HBCUs. And because of that character that we were able to develop, it allowed us to have a different kind of connection with one another. Where, to your point, there is the mentoring by other students or peer mentoring, but there's also the affirmation. When I went to my HBCU and I saw the continuum of black folks, oh wow, there's black folks who like rock and roll. There's black folks who like the orchestra. There's black folks who like this and like that. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's blown away. So then part of my journey was seeking out tenure track positions at HBCUs, and I'm fortunate and blessed enough to be chosen by Lincoln University, the other Lincoln University, in PA. Because what we have is, we're flawed, and I can run down a list of challenges that we got from A to Z. But where we're strong at is family. We know that the people around us get it. And then for me as an educator, not only do I want the people around me to get it, but the same service that my students can do in Philadelphia, in the metropolitan Philadelphia area, I invite them to consider doing that same kind of work abroad. Whether it's Cape Town, South Africa, whether it's Havana, Cuba, whether it's Prague, Czech Republic, and all around the globe, I'll have my students and or faculty come with me to create family, and to create synergy. So I'm fortunate and blessed to be here today, and I'm so excited to have this experience here at ABC.
This is a lineup. I like it. All right, this is good. That was great. Thank you. So we talk about our connection to HBCUs, and we talk about the return on investment, the ROI. Leadership is the in-between, getting them to understand that they're going to be a leader in their lives, a leader in their community, and then a leader in their family, right? That's eventually what we want. We want them to have that trifecta so that it just doesn't affect them, especially as black folk, right? Or HBCU again, if that's a word. Oh, I don't know. Look that up, yeah. But with that, tell me, tell me your mantra on leadership.
I think leadership can be learned. I think it is needed. It comes in different forms, expressed in different ways. But leadership, I believe, helps us to be more humane. And it helps us to be better versions of ourselves. Not just individuals, but also groups. So the greatest leaders are very self-aware, but they're also community aware as well. It's almost like in the church world, where our faith is not just a privatized faith, but it extends beyond. So I believe communities are changed by leaders.
I love that. I love that. Talk to me.
Yeah. You know, I was just thinking, you know, one, leadership is not about you. It's a very selfless act, right? And, you know, I say this because I do leadership development, And I tell folks, you got to check your ego at the door, right? You got to have an ego to think you can be a leader. So you got to think highly of yourself. Think, especially if you're going in, you know, I train future superintendents. So I say, in order for you to think you're going to run a school system, right, millions of dollars, and everybody yelling and hollering at you, you got to think highly of yourself. But the moment you get that job, you got to check your ego, because the ego will also get you out. And leadership is about how can I guide and lead other people, right? And folks will always say, you can take a horse to the water, but you can't make them drink, right? I always say, well, if you give the horse some salt, the horse will be thirsty and it will drink that water, right? So you have to find ways as leaders to, you know, to not tell people what you want them to do, give them a reason to want to do it. And that's a skill, right? And I don't think that you're born with it. So as you said, I think it is something. Some people are born leaders, though. I mean, some people, I think you come into this world as a leader and that is just who you are. But I also think folks can be trained to have really good leadership as long as they're willing to be selfless and humble and to check their ego.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, and Monchieré, we were literally kind of just talking about aspects of leadership and just the sacrifice, right? And kind of to the same point of being selfless. You know, I think about my journey as an entrepreneur, and it's, you know, the ups and downs of entrepreneurship is a real thing, right? And it's, you know, it's always about putting your team first, right? Even not necessarily in the moments when you don't want to, but in the moments when it's just so uncomfortable, right? But for them to see you make that sacrifice oftentimes leads to the best outcomes, right? And I believe, you know, strong leaders, you know, through all of it, right? You end up finding great outcomes because you're setting the tone, setting the example, and letting them know, like, hey, I will take it on the chin first, right? And you know, so it's just funny with that question. Literally, we're just talking about that and the sacrifice of, you know, sometimes it's paying yourself second, right? And, or third or fourth or fifth, right? Or not at all, right? And so, you know, but I wouldn't trade it for anything, right? And I would, time and time again, would still stand in that position to lead the team. And the other thing I say, I think one of the key tenets of leadership as well is building other leaders, right? Because at some point, you know, we only go as far as the team we have, and you know, it's just critical to build up that next generation of leadership behind.
That's right. Yeah. The world of leaders is an ecosystem.
Absolutely.
You gotta have the ecosystem, and HBCUs are that.
Yeah.
Talk to me, Gina.
Well, I'm gonna sum it up like this. In my opinion, leadership is the stewardship of people, purpose, and possibility. That's what it is. I think that I was taught as a young age that one of the most important gifts that I could be given, aside from life itself, is the gift of responsibility. And with that, you know, I grew up in a home where my mom, my father shaped a lot of the leader that I am, so much so I just changed my bio and included them that leadership is my inheritance.
Oh, I love it.
And so I think that looking back, I'm in a place now where I'm doing a lot of, I'm getting at that age where we're doing a lot of reflection, and a lot of this might have been shaped through development and being taught, but that nature versus nurture part, my father and my mother shaped exactly who I am from a young girl, and I have the evidence of that and the proof of that. And so I think that for me, you know, there were some very fundamental things. My mom, who for most of my life going into high school was our church minister of music and pianist. And so with that, she always led with this idea that, one, your life is not your own, and your gifts are not for you. And at any point when I thought it was something that I was doing, she shut that down so quick. She was like, you know, and she taught me that that wasn't the way to approach anything, or else I would have had an inflated ego if it wasn't for her saying, Whatever you think you're doing, first of all, it didn't come from you with your own might.
That's right.
That was also something that you didn't just conjure yourself. Like, it's all God's. God gave it to you, and He didn't give it to you but He didn't give it to you for you. He gave it to you for you to be a blessing and a gift to someone else. So that was kind of her narrative always. It still is to this day. And with that responsibility was when you leave the house, you're carrying all kind of people with you that you are reflecting when you go out in the world. And so that was the big part of the responsibility. My father, on the other hand, was a serial entrepreneur. He never worked for anybody, except for himself. My whole life. Like, he lived that way till he died. His story was he grew up in Mississippi, moved to the big city of Memphis. I'm from Memphis, born and raised. And so with that, he and my mom separated when I was really young, but by the time I got to middle school, I'll make this quick story in reference to him. We spent time together on the weekends, and initially, Dr. Jackson, I thought it was so we could have bonding time. And I realized that he was taking me on this side quest to raise money for him. And he like, hey, you want to go to the game on Friday? And I'm like, sure, let's go, let's do it. All right, we're gonna sell shirts, we're gonna sell water, And he said, this is what he said to me. He said, I want you to pick 5 of your friends and tell them you're gonna pick them up, we're gonna feed them pizza, and we're gonna pay them a quarter, 50 cents for every t-shirt they sell, 50 cents for every water they sell, and we're gonna drop them back off at home. I have literally led most meetings in my adult life that same way. We eat. Yes. I provided a t-shirt that said got a company name on it, a branded piece of, and people like that. Yeah. And it's so funny thinking about that now. I'm like, all I was trying to do was spend time with my daddy. He was trying to get me lunch money. There you go. But those things, those values and that work ethic and even that formula has been taken with me into how I lead and how people trust me and how I try to protect my teams. That was team building one-on-one, right? And so I was probably 7 years old when he created a business card. We got boxes of 5,000 of them still, of a company that didn't even exist. My sister was the president and I was named the vice president. I'm telling you, there is something to seeing something in your chat. Motivation can come in a myriad of ways. Yes. Right. And looking at the way things have just kind of moved around for me, making me a vice president in real life at this company didn't make me a leader. My daddy made me a leader when I was 6. There you go. So I think all that matters in how we pour into our students and our young people and the younger generation. It matters what we say to them. Yes. It matters what we give people space, the space we give them to own and occupy. And it matters how we resource them and equip them to be successful with the goals that we establish for them. And so I think that's been my story. I can unpack that all day about just the things that have happened throughout my life and my career, that no matter what happened, I can go back to God and I can go back to my mom and my father and their teachings. You're rooted. And that's how my leadership life has been formed.
And HBCUs pulled it out.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah. Yeah, because my father's a proud graduate of Lemoyne College in Memphis, Tennessee. That was the root. And my mother.
Yeah, I would say my mantra for leadership is about leading with humility, kind of echoing what you said, that in some spaces you can't walk in and announce, I'm Dr. this, I'm da-da-da-da-da, I'm da-da-da-da-da, because you turn people off. Ain't nobody trying to hear all that, right? And so you lead with humility, but you also should lead with patience. That kind of what we were talking about earlier, where, and I know we didn't come here to talk about astrology, but I'm gonna bring it up. That there are certain signs where people find that other people don't have the capacity maybe for your leadership style. Okay. And when other people don't have the capacity for your leadership style, sometimes you have to wait and adjust or try to accommodate them, but know that your 50% is their 100%. So because I went to Hampton University and an HBCU, and they really poured into us, right? Like, James, you're talented 10th, look to the left, look to the right, half the people won't be here, da 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 da. So then in terms of leadership, what we do at Lincoln is that we really pour into our students and let them know that they are blessed, that they are privileged, and that they are special. Because the goal in educating and pouring into our students that way is that not only do we want them to be leaders at their agency and in their communities, but we want them to be leaders globally. Yeah. And we really push that on them, because if not us, then who? And leadership doesn't mean that you have to be in the front of a crowd or whatever. Leadership may sometimes mean you got to keep your mouth shut.
Yeah. That's good.
And just sit and wait. And sometimes there are spaces and people who won't allow you to lead in a way that maybe the Lord moves you. So then you move to a separate space, execute the kind of leadership you believe in. This is kind of what the Human Services Strand is about. Engage in the kind of leadership that emancipates people, that moves them out of the box, so that way their lives can be transformed. Other people will see you and then look to model what you're doing. Like, hey, how'd you do this? How'd you become an entrepreneur? How'd you become a president? Because you decided to move outside of the box, and people see what you're doing and think that they can do it. But if you tell them about it, sometimes they don't have the capacity to actually get there.
Or receive it. That's real good. I love that. So let's forecast a little bit. I like thinking sessions, and I think we have some intelligent people on this panel. Workforce is the end game and has always been the end game of any college, yet alone a HBCU. All of our ancestors and anybody who has come before us was trying to get us into the atmosphere of the American way, into the workforce in music, into the workforce in entrepreneurship, into the workforce in human services, all of the various components, finance. How are we figuring that out right now, right? Based on this mentorship, which is needed, the type of mantras that exist, how are we going to take this knowledge, these kids that are coming out, the seniors, maybe not the doctorates, are coming out and graduating and getting them to the atmosphere to be what we know they need to be. So EJ and probably another 100 of us exist, maybe 200 of us exist in Nashville as leaders who lead community and lead business, as entrepreneurs. If every state or every city just had 200 of us, and I'm talking about African American folk, we in trouble. How do we get us to a point where we effect the workforce that we're moving these kids to, so that they immediately know that communal is a part of their leadership, is a part of what they're supposed to be doing? And I guess the HBCUs do that, but I don't think we do it in numbers. If I'm gonna be fair, I think, I'll just use my school. Xavier University graduated at some point about 400 or 500 people a year, right? So if we're at 500, we keep 3,000 students. Not every one of my classmates are leaders in the community, but 70% of them are doctors. Now there's a reason that leadership hasn't come over. So I guess when I say when we get into the workforce, what happens? Obviously life, right? But what is it that we could be doing with workforce forecasting? Remember, this is a forecasting. To make them say, yes, I'm supposed to be doing this role. Yes, I've been successful. I got this degree. I got this job. How do I break that to beyond my family and me and be the leaders that God really wants us to be, et cetera, et cetera?
But it almost sounds like then we're suggesting that everyone is a leader.
Yeah. Well,
and I don't know that that's what I don't.
See, I believe everyone is. I believe God gave everybody something to do. And
but that's different, though. I think God has given all of us gifts. Mm-hmm. God has given us all something to do, and God has given all of us a calling. That's what we're like, right? We all have a calling. I think that there is some idea often that leadership is suggested by title and position, and I don't agree with that.
No, I don't agree with that either.
And I also think that it sounds like what you're setting up is a conversation around everyone has a role to be in leadership, and I don't know.
No, let me say it better. Everyone has a role to be in community and to lead in community at some point. If you're the pastor, you're the deacon at the church, there's some effect. We do it anyway. Let's call a spade. We do it anyway. What I'm saying, in this new generation, I'm not saying I can see it just yet, right? Based on what they're living a different life than we led in the 80s and the 90s. No, they don't need to be the leader of the church. They don't need to be the leader of the school, but they need to affect community, because we right now are fighting a magnitude of things happening, from food being recalled, from this and that. So if we go home and just get our check, and don't serve. Maybe that's the better statement. Servant leadership.
Servitude.
Yes, servitude.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
And I was, oh, go ahead, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No.
No, I was because I was just thinking while you were talking. A couple of things came to mind. One is we really need to get out of the way of our young people.
Okay. I like it. I like it.
And I say that because, so I'm a former superintendent of schools. Before I was in Howard University, I was a superintendent in Alexandria City Schools in Shaker Heights, Ohio as well. And so I was around a lot of young people. We always bring our lived experiences into their space. And we still remember picking up a phone that had a cord on it that was attached to a wall, right? And you had to run and get home before, to catch somebody's call. You couldn't call you anywhere, right? I had to write my number down to my wife and give her my number on a piece of paper.
And don't lose it.
And act like I was rolling, right? And doing something back in the day. I couldn't text because we ain't had text. So I'm saying this to say we don't have their lived experience, right? They have lived to see a black president. They have lived to see a pandemic. They have lived to just have internet at their fingertips, answers at their fingertips. We had to go look in encyclopedias and go to the library, and if it's closed, you just can't read, right? So if we can get out of their way and ask them, where do they see this going, right? Instead of having the vision of the stuff we didn't get. Like sometimes stuff that we don't achieve, we put it on our children. And as parents, as a parent, I had to work on that, right? You can't put what I didn't do on my child. Let them do what they want to do and what God has kind of inspired them to do. So we got to get out of their ways. Another thing that I wanted to mention was around getting out their way, and there was another piece I was going to say. Oh, yeah, when you started talking, I said, because this right here is my my soul sister over here.
Yes.
I can't feel all the soul because Emmanuel took my seat. You know what I'm saying?
You gotta blame it on Vice President over there, man.
The Sigma over there that messed me up.
It's the Sigma spot over there.
I'm like, shoot, we were vibing. I'm just feeling Gina. I'm going back to Martin. Gina.
Right. And that is I was born her, Gina Waters.
Oh, okay, see? Go ahead, Gina. And I should have been Martin Lawrence. But so when we were talking about servitude, right, I think what we have not done is we have not taught young people how to serve.
There you go.
Right? And the reason for that is because we do so much for them. Right? We had to go figure things out in the world. Now we feel like we got to do it for them, and they don't really have to think. And if we're not there to do it, guess what? The internet can do it. So you can be a non-existent parent, and your child can learn everything that a parent had to teach them to do in the past, right? So how can you serve when everything is already given? So we have to figure out, like, how can we get them into this new frame of mind for the future of, like, defining what servitude means for this generation and defining what leadership means for this generation. So get out their way.
So bringing that salt, putting a little salt.
Putting a little salt
on it.
so they can drink that water.
I like that. I like that. Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. And I was gonna say, leadership is both micro and macro, right? Is because kind of to that point, young people, because they have so much at their fingertips, because they can find and see answers to things which may or may not could be totally off base, their self-leadership is just critical, right? And I just think about, so I have my bonus boy is a freshman at Hillsborough, and it's this, he's trying to establish his confidence. He went to a much smaller middle school, and so he's feeling a bit intimidated, right? But what I'm pouring into him is, man, you don't have to come in and say, I'm gonna be the SGA president or on the basketball team, but you walk in with a level of confidence because you're a leader of yourself, your own mind. And so I think, like, truly it's like the micro and macro, why everyone has to be focused on leadership in some respect. The other thing I wanted to add too is entrepreneurial mind, right? And I think young people today, because of how we kind of romanticize entrepreneurship a bit, which I hate. I absolutely hate how entrepreneurship can be romanticized so much, But however, the mindset is critical. Being entrepreneurially minded is critically important, because you have to understand that the resource, you talk about workforce development, it's like resources shift. How technology shifts, and if you aren't resourceful and you aren't taking leadership to the side, if you don't have the mindset to figure it out and be creative and, you know, strategic problem solving and all those things, which is really all entrepreneurship is about, then you're going to struggle.
Yeah.
That's true.
Right, and especially today, because the competitive landscape is just so different, right? And the wealth gap is just so dramatic right now, and so you have to, you know, whatever it is you want to do, having an entrepreneurial mind, whether or not you want to be an entrepreneur, is a moot point. It's just about having that mindset.
That's
Right.
good. That's good.
If you don't mind, I'll chime in. I think that's the role or that can be a role that institutions have to play. That institutions have to be spaces for service learning.
Yeah.
That we know what the problems are. We know what the problems are that exist in our communities, and so it's the role of the institution to be able to form partnerships with Black businesses, Black churches, Black entities in order for faculty to take the students to these different spaces, engage the people in these Black businesses with students, and mentor them through 4 years and beyond.
Yes.
And so then there becomes a different kind of synergy that exists between institutions and the communities that house them. Sometimes institutions, they isolate themselves. This is one of the challenges that we have, that our institution is in Southeast Pennsylvania. So now we're in this rift with folks in Southeast Pennsylvania because they don't really care for a Black institution to be there. And where we struggle at are those connecting points within folks in our communities, because we don't do a good enough job at putting our students in the businesses around our institution. And so leadership is thinking from a macro sense, which is partnering with different entities, but from a micro sense, that's our responsibility to escort these students out into the community in order to do the work, and then getting them to think expansively that the same work that they can do in Philadelphia and Southeast Pennsylvania is the same work that they can do in Nashville.
That's right.
And the same work that they can do in Nashville is the same work that they can do in North Dakota, or Sweden, or Senegal, or wherever. So getting our students to think about how they've been positioned maybe here at ABC, and think about how they're positioned in the world, allows them to have a different kind of connection with people around them, particularly in Black communities.
Yeah, that's good.
Let me say this piece. I'm gonna tag on to that. The other thing, escorting them out into the world to do that is also one way. And I want to just celebrate what you all do in the community, because what you do through activations and the intentionality of, we're going to have a community breakfast, like that's really a signal to a whole community of young people who are going to say, yo, they made it cool. Like, I want to be a part of helping because they saw Slim and Hutchings do it. And I think that you didn't say that. I was waiting on you to say something about what you all actually doing in the community. And I think that I want to just acknowledge that, because that's also meeting people where they are. And that's one huge way to make a change and to make a difference. I think that along with that, back to what you were saying over here about getting out of their way, what I see a lot in my industry, I try to have tried to challenge artists to, if they didn't already come into partnership with me or our businesses, companies, what are you giving? Like, it's such a privilege to go out into the world and create art that you have an expectation that people are going to buy, stream, book you for a concert, but what are you giving back? And I think that's to the point of what you're saying. It's like, what is your philanthropic pursuit here? And so a lot of times people haven't grown up even having to think about, what will I give away? And so sometimes it's a longer process, because I don't believe that we just lure people into a giving campaign, if you will, just for the sake of doing it. But we really want to encourage everyone around us to find something that you can that means something to you, that you can do consistently from a very genuine and authentic place. And going through that process helps people find something that becomes a niche for them and an extension of them. And then those are the things that we find that are more consistent, and you can grow in those things. I try to encourage, I had a young lady reach out to me the other day and had a lot of questions, and I was like, you've got to join however many organizations you can afford to join. Whatever that looks like. That may be one at $25 a year for a student. As a professional, that fee may become $125. That might be all you can do. Pick your one thing and do it and serve it well. But if you can do other things, there's some organizations that would love to have, your presence, your work. You can find where your gift can be get in the way, like offer it up. And I think that those kind of things are the things that we just have to be willing to do. I'm gonna say that sometimes it's difficult for people to let go of their place. And I recognize that, especially people, in the competition of life, if you will, when you have artists and you have in church culture, because I consult with a lot of churches, who, deacons been holding down that spot for 60 years and they don't want to let it go, And it's hard for young people to see themselves in a place when we don't let them grow up.
That's good.
Like, you've had pastors that have been a part of a church for all their lives, and as full adults with grown children are still looked at as like little 13-year-old Derrick, and so I think we also have to be patient. That requires a little patience. Change is hard for people. It really is. It sounds so easy. Just do this, but in our core, it is really hard. And the humanness of us can be territorial about having to give up something that we've held so closely to us. And because we've built it, and because we worked through several different administrations to get it just the right way. But I do think that there's a shared experience if we can choose to open up our platforms and open up opportunities. If you got 30-year-old junior deacons at the church, we probably should rethink what we're doing.
I love it. Prince Jackson, you want to answer on that?
I was going to say, and one thing that is great about HBCUs is this intention to pull the leadership out of all of us.
Yes.
But they connect leadership to something, to service, justice. That's what American Baptist College does. So you see business, not just as business, but business as mission. That's right. If you are a teacher in the classroom, you're the preacher in that classroom.
I like it.
If you are a preacher, you're also business representative, and so you're connecting Sunday to Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, that entrepreneurial thinking that you was referencing. So HBCUs teach us it's not just about the money, although it is about the money. And they would teach us that money is connected to mission. And then competition is friendly competition, but you never lose sight of the community. And I think that HBCUs reminds us of a purpose that we have that is bigger than any one of us. That's why HBCUs can root for other HBCUs.
Okay.
Because
I love that.
we understand the struggle. So I think a key piece of HBCUs, we expect you to be leaders. And we're going to help you become the best leader you are uniquely tailored to become. And leadership means caring for the least, the last, the lost. Whether it's in the courtroom, classroom, the field, on the road, whether it's in a boardroom, wherever it may be, that HBCU experience taught us that we matter for those coming behind us, in addition to those who are in front of us.
I think that was so good. I hope y'all did a zoom in situation where it was cut and then cut to the essay. You got that cut? Okay, all right. That was a good one. So we're going to do our last question, and this is a selfish question. So a journey. We grown. We all grown up here, but you've really talked to your story. but I don't think we articulate the journey of life a lot. Beyond leadership, beyond career, the journey of life. Nobody on that internet really talking about journey of life. It's all these folks, they making money off of it though. I need to get on there and do just what they doing. But being able to talk to the next up, and that may not be somebody who's a kid. That may not be your son, right? It could be someone in this room. How are we articulating the journey that requires everything, not just our talents, not just our leadership, not just our gifts, not our access? How are we articulating the journey as Black leaders, Black people, mentors, whatever we call ourselves? How are we articulating that journey? Because that journey is unique. If we started that conversation and we were talking about your daughter, and I immediately said, oh yeah, I got to connect her with her, it's in me to do that, right? But if I told her my journey, it'd be like, wow, I didn't know that when I was her age. I didn't know that when I was a freshman. As a freshman, I was trying to figure it out. What is that? What could you surmise if you had to tell a room full of, I don't know what's next in my life, but I'm here at this school, how to be prepared for the journey, or how to just take themselves through the journey and understand that it's never going to just be what it is. It's going to keep tethering. Tethering, you talked about how your rootedness in your parents' teaching is tethering. And then I give it all grace and honor to God right now, because it's really his plan, if we're going to be obvious with it, and that we all talking about speculation on somebody else's plan, right? If we understand that. And if it's God's plan, we should be enjoying the journey, even at HBCUs. Yep. But even more as Black people, because he keeps surviving us, right?
Yeah, and the trauma.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's what I was trying to pull out.
That comes on the journey. Mm-hmm. I think this generation likes authenticity. Yeah. Likes transparency. Mm-hmm. They see in their mind a finished product.
Mm. That's right.
But just the trauma that comes along with being Black in America, though. Nobody want to say that.
Mm-hmm. No, that's it right there.
The challenge of what it looks like being your authentic self in a world that's full of different people.
Do you think that if you stay authentic, because you stay basically close to the vision you and God have for you, do you think that is helpful through the journey?
I think it is.
Whatever journey it is.
I think it is, and being careful about, someone coined this phrase, the tyranny of certainty.
That's
you
good.
know, that God is always converting us. Mm-hmm. We got this ongoing conversion experience with God.
Yeah, that's
so that means he's not through with us as long as there's breath in our body. Yes. And then this collective story of Black folk in America and in the world. And what that means to us individually and collectively. That's right. And not shy away from telling our own story. Owning it. Business can come in and help. Music can come in and help. Owning it, sharing it, and then adding to it. So it's, to me, it's a continuous journey since our ancestors came over. Yeah, that's good. And not backing off, not backing away, or backing off.
We're still here, so that's the good part. So that's how I know it's a journey.
I was gonna say, go ahead,
I know.
Go ahead, President
Zoom in
Jackson.
again. Zoom in
That's
again.
right. Zoom in on that one again. That's what I'm talking about. You know, when I think about this, you have to just be your authentic self and be willing to say, I have flaws, I have failed, and I have grown.
That's good.
Right? Because a lot of times, we even, when folks see you and wherever you are, right? Like when you make it, you achieved your goals, people see you where you are at that point. They didn't see the journey it took for you to get there. My mom would always say, you know, thank God I don't look like what I've been through.
Yes.
Because I wouldn't look this dang on good, right? And I'm like, Ma, you're right. You look good, girl, you know. So we got to tell that story so that people can know I might be going through some troubles right now. I might be down and out. I may, have fumbled the ball, but I can get back up. I can still be successful, and that doesn't define my life. Yes. Right? But they won't know that if you don't tell them. So I think it's important for us to be unapologetically ourselves and honest around our truth and our failures. Yeah. One final thing, I think without failure, you can't have success.
That's very true.
You learn the most about yourself when you have nowhere else to go. Because the only person you can rely on is God and you. Yes. And I think that You know, that is when, like, when everybody's in your face and everything's going well, it's hard to really, sit back and say, I am so blessed, I am so grateful, I'm so thankful. But let something happen and all that stuff get stripped away from you. Mm-hmm. That's when you got to look in the mirror and say, I'm down here, God, I need you.
Yes.
Right? So I hope we can also instill in them that they can do that before they fail,
Yes.
right? To know God throughout, not just when things, are not going well.
Not going well, that's good.
Yeah.
I almost, man, couldn't say it any better than that. Just because I feel like right now we're, just thinking about the journey because we're constantly in it, right? And I feel like it's this exercise of faith, like this constant thing of faith where God is gonna show you something and he's gonna say like, okay, are you willing to take those next few steps? And you just have to trust in the Lord with all thine heart, lean not to thine own understanding. In all that ways acknowledge him and he will direct your path, right? And it's just like, man, to really believe that though.
Yes.
And
That's true.
to like, and I just think about, 3 boys at the house, and it's like almost 100% to what you said. They have to understand both the times where you're in it and you are just being faithful and not knowing like, man, we gonna make payroll, and, next month. You know what I mean? But seriously, those moments of both when it's not going perfectly and you still showing up the same way and still believing in God that he's going to direct your path,
Yes,
right?
that's
As
right.
long as you believe in it. And so, a lot of it is like faith and not, and two, and I think the interesting part about faith is not, doesn't always mean it's gonna work out the way you intended it. You want it to, right? But just being okay with the fact that God's plan is God's plan, and so that's a lot of it. Mo and I, and we talk about this quite a bit, just like specifically about that, like God's plan, faith, and this journey. It pulls you, and closing a store is no fun at all. But the lessons I learned from closing that store is priceless, like are priceless lessons that I can take with me, all throughout any parts of my life. So
That's good. That's good. What you say, Gina?
Well, if he's directing our paths, then I'm going to add to that and say, no matter what happens as we journey, our responsibility remains our response. And so knowing that, every time I think I want to say something, do something, feel something, pivot something, it comes back to I'm only responsible for my response. No matter what anyone says or does to me, against me, even for me, I'm still responsible for that part of the journey. And ultimately, there's a lot of, I have 2 adult sons. I have a 26-year-old son and a 31-year-old son. And so regardless, with that responsibility, I also want to model for them that ultimately my personal convictions are to just leave. I walk in every room with expectation. God is meeting me in the room to do what he's put me on earth to do. And my prayer always is that in leaving most any space is that I've left it better than I found it. Yeah. And I'm hoping that there's a trajectory that compounds over time, that at the very end of life, that's the sum of all that would be said, is that I left places much better than I found it.
I love that. Help us wrap it up.
Yeah, I would say that part of my journey is being able to acknowledge the identities that I have and that we have collectively, that if we kind of follow what Prez said, I am because we are, or the spirit of Ubuntu, that when we can acknowledge the identities that we take on and the roles that we play in other people's lives, that allows for a different kind of synergy to happen. So in the spirit of social justice, maybe the acknowledgement of our present journey is an acknowledgement of our historical journey around the struggle. Black folks, black schools, black communities have struggled, and sometimes, as you can probably hear, we sometimes romanticize the struggle, or we say the struggle is real, right?
Yeah.
And so in that romanticization of the struggle, that brings us all together on this collective journey. But again, if we can acknowledge our own individual journey and our collective journey in this room, part of our journey also fuses itself with responsibility, which is what all of you had named, whether it's an entrepreneur, whether it's an entertainer or whatever, or an educator. All of our journeys are fused together that could enable us to create a different kind of future for those who might take the same journey that we took or take a different path. And so that's what I would say.
I love it all. I love it all. I hope it was helpful and y'all enjoyed it. This has been amazing. Thank you so much, Trustee Thank you so much. DJ, Gina, thank you so much. This has been amazing. This is our first presidential residency program, and there's going to be many, many more. But these folks will be leading and guiding folks over the next couple months through some programmatic education. And if you want to watch it, look, I'm kicking it to the TV. If you want to watch it, it will be streaming live. There are going to be some links I'm pretty sure you can find on our university page. This is the future of innovation at American Baptist College. I'm proud to be a part of it, proud of our new president, and the future of our leadership. So thank you so much for having us. She's like, once we get together. Any questions? It was so good. I want 2 clips, tag me in it. Any questions? Any thoughts of questions you would have wanted to ask that I did not ask? All right. Oh, look at this one. Come on, stand on up. This is, yeah, please stand on up. And introduce yourself, ma'am.
Good evening. I'm Joy Stiles, and I have a question for Dr. Wadley.
Yeah.
So,
And before you ask, this is my god sister.
Ah,
She came here to start trouble,
Oh,
but it's good trouble.
Wait, let's be
But
clear.
go-
That's natural.
Right,
Okay,
right. So I don't know what she's going to say, but go ahead and ask your question.
for shame trying to do it. This is your first time coming to Nashville professionally. So I'd love to know, what has your experience been now that you've seen what we have to offer? And you're going to be joining us for an entire year. What will you be working on to continue bringing us?
The short time that I've been here, I just flew in today. Nashville has been my blessing. I was at the airport, and my godmother and my godsister picked me up, and she took me around the Antioch section of Nashville.
That's her district.
Yeah, that's her district. So she shared a little bit about Nashville history, and she shared about Nashville's present and future. And I was like, oh my gosh, I took all kinds of pictures about the development that's happening. But then in another conversation that I had with someone else, I guess with the gentleman who walked me from the gate, was that Nashville is changing in a way that doesn't always represent us.
Yeah.
And so I got excited, and I actually talked to Joy's colleague, and I said, Joy needs somebody on the campaign trail with her to talk about the changes that Nashville is making and how Nashville residents are seeking a different kind of empowerment. And so I'm honored that my family is here, and obviously I'm blessed to be here at ABC, and I know that, and as a matter of fact, let me go ahead and acknowledge Dr. Gooch and I, we are colleagues from Lincoln University, the Lincoln University. And when I saw her, it was so warm. Again, family field, like we hadn't dropped off, and I'm happy to be of support to her, but also to all of you in the same spirit as my god sister Joy. So anything I can do to support you all, it's whatever.
Thank you. That was good. Any other questions?
That was good.
Yes, Pastor.
I'm not going to say this because I just looked at the journey of my life, and that's a thing that I always say, journey of life. This is Bishop Mitchell here,
Yes.
and coming up through the times, I looked at that part of my life when you said leadership. You said this is a leadership thing tonight, and I'm like, okay, I'll be there. And I looked at that because I didn't know what an HBC school was. Okay, I'm from the country. We had one Lincoln life.
Okay.
So this journey of life, and I looked at that God placed me one day at an HBC school, and I was a locksmith. Can I say Quincy State University?
Yeah, go ahead. Yes, sir.
And my journey was, I'm in a school, didn't know anything about HBCU, and students, I'm a locksmith, and seeing each student and being at a black university, I'm like, we can do it. And every day, I mean, I go to work an hour early, and I was looking at that point that wherever you are and whoever you are. And like, y'all put God in it, so that's what another people may in it. Because if he got you in a place to be and to do his calling, and it was young ladies, it's 3 young ladies I know that's married, have a family, they're always calling me, and their mother, they said their mother loved me. And I wasn't understanding at first, but they said you took the time out with my daughter, because we're away from home, and then I took that journey of meeting students all the time. As being a locksmith, you work 24 hours.
Somebody always, that's
and
funny.
so when I looked at that, and I'm sitting here, I said, Lord, because I was in the country looking up at the sky, like, what is this life about?
Right.
And then he put me on this journey, and I would have never thought I'd been standing in a place in Nashville, Tennessee. Bishop called me out and said, come to this leadership thing.
Yes.
And sometimes we got to have a name behind us that we think that we're doing something. No, you just be who God's calling you to be. And you be that light. And then the manifestation of you seeing the people around you making grabbing hold of something and living by and just being encouraged to do these things. Oh, let me say this one thing, because it was a locksmith, a white guy came to our job. He said, man, I did not know how HBC was, how they would handle me. He said, but you treated me with so much love, I was able to go out and not being scared around
the kids, the
he
students.
said it, and I'm like, yeah, man, we're all here together, and we're here to do this working together. And he said, man, when I got ready to retire, and I was walking out the door, he turned around and looked and said, man, can we always be friends? So the life that we're living before people, it is being seen. So now we as the children of God, the people of God, we reason all just a little like we shine.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. That's good. Any other questions? Would you like to close, Dr. Hutchings? Would you like to close?
Oh, well, I guess I can ask a question.
There you go. Okay.
I guess I've been thinking about, we kind of said it in the conversation, but kind of going back to quickly, everyone, what's something that you would tell your younger self?
There you go.
If you could go back and think about you at that college age, 18, 19, what's something that you would now tell your younger self and something you wish you would engage in, if you could?
You can make a difference, and you can make a difference that outlives you.
There you go.
I would say nothing will be wasted. Every part of your journey will be used and can be used.
I say be like Nike and just do it.
I'm thinking, I would say, God has continuous grace, because I was very hard on myself. There's a lot of grace.
Yeah. And I would say, kind of in that spirit, don't be afraid to make mistakes. And your mistakes allow for learning opportunities. And those learning opportunities allow for growth.
I'm just going to close it out and say, love your minutes. That's what God gave us. Was
Amen.
time. I love it. All right.
Love your minutes.
Thank y'all so much. I appreciate it. This was a very personal conversation with all my questions that I wanted for myself. Right. I was like,